Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today's video I am doing my third and final review for all of the cars that came along with update 1.23. This one being the Nissan Silvia S14, probably the most, I guess, wanted car of the bunch, even though, you know, I didn't really see many people asking for this one. However, me personally, I absolutely love this car and it's probably my personal favourite of all the Silvias. Now, it's a shame it's not sort of the kind of facelifted model. However, it's still a very decent addition to Gran Turismo 7. So they actually did the patch notes wrong for this. They originally said it was in the Legends dealer. However, it's not. So day one, it was in the used car section for 60,000 credits. You can see this one has 4,418 miles on it. Has a PP rating of 476.86, and it's putting out just over 200 brake horsepower. So before we get into, the review itself, let me give you a general overview for people that might not have kind of been here before or seen one of my car review guys. So this will be, I guess, back to normal. So what we do is essentially buy the car straight out the box, take it round on a hot lap of the Nordschleife layout of the Nürburgring, and then just kind of see where it comes on our hot lap leaderboard. Then we will fully customize it with as many upgrades as we can get and take it around another hot lap around the high speed ring, and then we'll see where it places on that hot lap leaderboard. So kind of straightforward, no tuning involved apart from when it comes to modifications. They are purely just performance mods. I cannot edit, tune the car up with gear ratios, suspension tuning and all that. It's basically just what they are like straight from the get-go. It kind of caters to even the more beginner players that might not know anything about tuning in GT7. So the Nissan Silvia S14, probably the most wanted car of the bunch, maybe just in front of the Volkswagen IDR. I don't think anyone asked for any of the free cars in the update, and if you've seen my IDR review, personally I absolutely loved it and I said it was a worthy addition. Sadly, it's just not usable for those grinding events, which pretty much all EVs are not. Then we had the Porsche Spyder Vgt, which I just said was a complete letdown. Not only was it kind of, I guess, shown over a week before the update came around or the cars were announced, the fact that that wasn't just kind of an extra car, we should have had 3 others, was very disappointing. And to be honest, it just is the exact same as the normal VGT version, just with a different skin on it. So the final saving grace of these cars really is this, the Nissan Silvia S14, and well, it's probably kind of along the lines of what people wanted, which was more, kind of mid-90s production cars out of Japan, which you see a lot of people asking for. So if you are a JDM fan, I can guarantee you are gonna, love this inclusion. There'll probably be people that don't want it. I have seen a few complaints saying like, we've already got a million Silvias in the game. For me personally, I'm excited to see it because, like I've said, it is my favorite version of the Silvias, and I feel like it's very kind of underappreciated in majority of racing games really. Even over the years, it's not too often you see this. You do usually see the other models of Silvia, especially the S15 model, which seems to appear literally everywhere. So it is nice to see it, and I'm glad it's included finally in GT7. But how does it perform? Well, at standard, I was actually pleasantly surprised. There's a ton of grip there. I did not find it to be very slidey or snappy or anything like that. It does seem to do exactly what you wanted it to do, and that's quite rare for more road-going versions of cars. Even these sort of lower powered 200 to 300 brake horsepower cars, if they're got all the drive at the back, they seem to like snapping about. This car, however, it does seem to stick to the road and perform exactly how I wanted it to. So I really cannot complain in just how it feels and its drivability at standard. Now, this will probably be a car that most people won't keep standard, let's be honest. So I have bought 2 of these. I've got a stock version and then I've got a wide-bodied, more modified version, which you will see later on in the video. So yeah, I mean, most people probably aren't going to drive the car in its bog standard form, and it's not really that car anyway. I mean, most people, get these cars to just put the most insane modifications on them and just see how quick we can make them. So At standard, this car was very good at performing pretty much all round. The performance isn't anything mind-blowing, however it's really not as slow as you probably think it would be. I mean, you kind of look at this car and think, okay, so it's like a 94 model, it's pretty outdated in terms of the technology that it's using and such, in, you know, compared to today's standards. It doesn't look like the most ridiculously fast car, but no, it was really actually quite good, to be honest. I had no complaints at all, and I was finding myself being able to put some, you know, decent lap times in as I kind of used it more and more for like just certain events and such. So genuinely a really good car, even in its bog standard form, which is nice to see, because a lot of these kind of older Japanese cars are absolutely awful from standard and require a lot of tuning and a lot of modifications to just kind of get them where you feel like they should be. Would I say it's, you know, on the level as something like the S15 at standard? Probably not. It does have a lot more kind of roll to it. It leans over a lot more. However, it's not really that noticeable. It doesn't kind of, like I said, feel as planted as something like the S15. But, you know, for a car that's not as kind of in your face as an S15 is, it's definitely a very, you know, good car in terms of its performance. In terms of the sound design as its, I guess, standard form, this is exactly what it sounds like. Quite a muted sound note. It's nothing too kind of in your face or loud or anything like that. It just kind of goes in the background. You'll probably not really, you know, take much notice of it. I mean, that completely changes when you get to the modified version, which I will talk about a little bit in this review in the standard version, because I don't really get enough time while it's on its hot lap at high speed ring. So yeah, I mean, from standard, this is a genuinely decent car, and it's good to see a production car handling exactly how well it really should. So let's talk about the modified version. Now, once you start putting mods on this thing, there is plenty of kind of customization choices. There's some decent liveries already made for this car, and it's obviously one of those JDM icons that absolutely, you know, everybody seems to love putting the most ridiculous mods on it. And yes, you can wide body it, so you can come out with some really kind of impressive, you know, JDM builds with this car, which is its main purpose really, and I feel like that's where most people are going to spend their time. But performance wise, I found this to be one of the more exciting customizable cars in the game. Once you start putting mods on this and you've got all that wide body, you know, some different wheels, all that good stuff, and you put a huge turbo on it and turn the anti-lag up, this thing seems to become an absolute flamethrower. And it's honestly the best thing about this car. You know, you'll just be kind of driving at night, and I fully recommend taking this around like Tokyo at night. Just give it, you know, full beams, and then all of a sudden just let go. And honestly, this thing will absolutely turn into a flamethrower. It's so awesome to see. And genuinely, you know, I'm just finding myself having fun just letting this thing shoot flames and backfire and all that good stuff. It really felt awesome to drive at night. And honestly, if you do want that kind of nighttime JDM modified experience, I fully recommend getting this car around there at night, because it's just honestly probably one of the most visually pleasing sights I think I've seen in the entirety of Gran Turismo 7. And in fact, if you do take this car to Silvia Sisters and you go to the, I believe it's a Deep Forest reverse race, which is set at night, you will see just what I mean. For me, that is one of the most visually pleasing races I think I've ever seen. You'll notice all the Silvia just kind of backfiring, but this one especially, yeah, it becomes like something I don't think I've ever seen in GT7, apart from maybe some of the race cars. But even then, this thing just seems to absolutely outdo them in terms of spitting fire absolutely everywhere it goes. So really awesome to you know, customize this car, and it's definitely, you know, got its place among some of my favorites in terms of its customization options. So for me, overall, this is genuinely a really worthy addition to the game, and I'm happy to see it. You know, in a way, they've kind of listened and catered for the more production sort of mid-90s JDM, you know, cars that people were crying out for. So this is a, you know, a step in the right direction. Hopefully we start getting more than 3 cars per pack. I remember when GT Sport released, they were releasing like 10 at a time. So there's, you know, there's a lot to kind of work with that, you know, GT could really step up. And All honesty, if you want my honest opinion, this is one of the weaker in terms of the 3 cars that we've been given, mostly because 2 of them aren't really that usable long term. So overall, we did our hot lap in 8 minutes 29.212. So we're not breaking any records in terms of running the standard version around the Nordschleife. It goes in the 500 pp category, and it comes 12th out of 16, beating the light of the Christian Dior Mangusta and the Dodge Challenger RT from 1970, and it's just a little bit behind the Maserati A6 GCS Spyder from 1954. So it's okay in terms of its standard performance, but it is very, very usable, that is for sure. So like I said, we eventually do go and modify them as much as we can, and well, this is what we came out with. This is, yet again, my Silvia S14, running racing tyres, racing softs, I believe, for this one. Absolutely every modification possible has been thrown into this car. And it's an absolute fire-breathing dragon, and I absolutely love it in this kind of form. So definitely one of the more exciting cars to go ahead and tune and really take around at night. Sadly, our high-speed ring time trials or whatever leaderboards do not allow us to go at night, but it is still very awesome to see even in the day. Now, we are going to get onto our lap. We're going to hit the straight and go as fast as we can. I believe us hitting upwards of around about 180 miles an hour, which is definitely nothing to turn your nose up at for a car that's from 1994. Probably more in the lines of the Porsches of the time that we reviewed about a month ago when we did our Porsche week. So it's definitely, you know, hitting around about those same speeds. However, I did find it even better to get around the corners, so I'm definitely going to be making time up on some of the Porsches through the corners. So definitely no slouch. Definitely felt better than those kind of Porsches, and they are probably the closest comparison I've got in terms of just how this car felt. So speed wise, you know, it's hitting the same as the Porsches. In terms of its handling potential, it was definitely a step up from them. Definitely didn't want to kind of just break traction all the time. So even in its fully modified form, this thing is very, very usable, as well as just probably one of the most visually appealing cars in terms of running at night and all that good stuff. So really awesome car in terms of, you know, an addition to the game. As you can see, we broke a little bit of traction there, so we, you know, that snap still kind of there, but it's definitely not as sort of on show as it is with some of these modified machines. So that is our hot lap done. Very kind of, you know, a quick lap, so nothing to kind of turn our nose up there. The performance is definitely there for this car, so we're just going to do a few little burnouts to celebrate. So overall we did a 1 minute 11.652, and if you have been keeping up with this series, you will know that's not the best time, but it is a quite decent time overall in terms of being competitive. So it comes in 9th place with a 1:11.652, just above the likes of the RS Club Sport from the 993 from 1995. Comes above the Ferrari 308 GTB from 1975, which we reviewed the other day, and a couple of other Porsches, as well as the Pontiac Judge. It's around about just under a second off the Porsche 996 from 2001, so very competitive. So overall, we finally have a car from 1.23 that is usable in a lot of events and actually very fun to drive. So 100% one of the more worthy additions, probably in all of the updates, and definitely the most worthy addition when it comes to update 1.23. Absolutely love this car. I have no real complaints about it. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. You know, like I said, it's kind of a shame we can't go and put the facelifted stuff on, or maybe get a facelift model, but then you'll probably have people complaining yet another Silvia. But it is what it is. It's good to see another kind of mid-90s JDM icon in the game. So definitely an awesome car. Go and pick it up as soon as possible if you haven't already. So that's going to be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from myself, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.